Before this video starts, if you enjoyed this video, there are many more like it already on the channel with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I am trying to hit 125,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload 6 to 7 days a week on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent basketball talk, this is the place for it. Also, drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second. It makes a massive difference. So yesterday, I remembered, oh shit, I'm supposed to do a Hot Take Tuesdays for today because it's Tuesday, and I was planning on doing a scripted video. And I did an unscripted video yesterday, but I forgot about this. So here we are, Hot Take Tuesdays. Let's just jump right into it. This one comes from my podcast co-host and good friend and NBA YouTuber Mojo99. He says Bam Adebayo is better than Joel Embiid in today's NBA. I find that take interesting. I don't necessarily strongly agree or disagree. The thing is, Joel Embiid is definitely a better player than Bam Adebayo, but he's not as easy to adapt to the modern game. Bam is a far superior playmaker, a far more versatile defensive player, which is very important, much better at sticking on the perimeter than Embiid is. And even though he's not as good of a scorer, you could argue that a guy who just gets like 15 points a game at the center position and is also a great playmaker who allows his guards and wings to score is more impactful, because a center scoring in the post really is not all that impactful in the modern NBA. So I don't think the difference is as significant as some people would make it out to be. I would say just simply, I could theoretically build a team around Joel Embiid that I think could at least be on the border of winning a championship. With Bam Adebayo, I don't think you could build around him and it'd be a championship level team. I don't think the Miami Heat are built around him. I think he's just another piece of what Miami's trying to do. So I disagree slightly, but only slightly. I don't think the difference is as big as people think. I'm also very low on Embiid because of his injury history. So yeah, Nikola Jokic is better than Anthony Davis. The take in the thumbnail. Once more, I don't feel strongly on this take. I think, yeah, if you replaced Nikola Jokic with Anthony Davis on the Denver Nuggets, they would not be in the conference finals right now, because I think what the Denver Nuggets system is heavily reliant on Nikola Jokic's playmaking. While Anthony Davis is not a bad playmaker for his position, he is certainly not a really good one, and he's certainly not one of the best passers, if not the best passer in the NBA, like Nikola Jokic is. So as a result, if he was on the Nuggets, that team falls apart. However, I don't think that's necessarily fair to Anthony Davis, because that's just one team that's built to Nikola Jokic's strengths. A team built to Anthony Davis's strength might just have as high of a ceiling, if not higher. So if we're just looking at the position that both of them are in, I think in the position to be a secondary option, Anthony Davis is better than Jokic, but I think in the position to be the leading man, Jokic is better than Anthony Davis. And even though Davis is obviously a far superior defensive player, I'd argue that Jokic's impact is just as significant, if not more significant. So I think it's basically neck and neck. I really couldn't tell you either way. Bam Adebayo will be a top 5-ish player in the league in his prime. Okay, so I know Bam Adebayo has been playing good in the playoffs. However, the offensive jump that Bam Adebayo would have to make in order for this to be applicable is very significant. I would argue Bam Adebayo is kind of like Kevin Garnett without any of that like one-on-one creating ability. Outside of him being a pretty good ball handler like Kevin Garnett was, he doesn't have the mid-range face-up game. He's not as good of a finisher. He's not as good as attacking. Doesn't have a post game really. Not much of one anyways. So no, not top 5. That's kind of absurd. I don't even know that he could crack top 10 just because he's not a good enough offensive creator for himself. Good playmaker, good ball handler, pretty good finisher, and you know what? 15 points per game on pretty good efficiency is not too shabby. However, in order for him to be a top 5 player, he'd have to get into the 25 point per game range, and I just don't see that happening unless that jumper that we've heard about actually ends up coming out. But it's thus far only been something we've heard about. Jayson Tatum, as of now, is a top 10 player this season. I don't have the names actually listed out, but this is becoming hard. Like, it's hard to keep Jayson Tatum out of the top 10 at this point. So I don't have all the names, but I think Jayson Tatum is definitely creeping into top 10 territory. He pretty much already is in that conversation. The jump that he has made this year is just absurd. I don't know why he wasn't in more most improved player talks, actually, now that I think about it, because I don't like second-year players winning the award, but Jayson was in his third year, and he's gone from like 16 points a game to like 24 and became all defense level defender, even though he did not make the all defensive team, which is a fucking robbery. Yeah, he is on the border of top 10, and he probably should have been in most improved player conversations. LeBron has never been robbed of an MVP. I agree, especially this year, but 2011 is the year that most people point to where they say, hey, LeBron should have won that MVP over Derrick Rose, and that was just fatigue as well as hating LeBron and, you know, narratives. However, Derrick Rose, with a far worse roster, led his team to more wins and had pretty comparable statistics. So, yeah, I think Derrick Rose deserved that MVP. And you might say that makes me biased as a Bulls fan, but I actually was not watching the Bulls that season. My dumbass decided to watch the Bulls in 2013 after Derrick Rose's career was completely fucked. So, not really. Don't have a whole lot of love for Derrick Rose, or at least not as much as most Bulls fans do, but he deserved that MVP. And Giannis deserved the MVP this year. I'm very tired of LeBron fans thinking LeBron deserves the MVP every season. Like, he had a great year, but Giannis had a better year with a worse roster, and yes, an easier conference, but he led his team to more wins. And it's a regular season award, so stop talking about the fucking playoffs, Kyle Kuzma. LeBron would be in the same conversation as Jordan if he won all of his finals appearances. No. LeBron would not be in the same conversation as Michael Jordan if he won all of his finals appearances. He would be a step above Michael Jordan. If he had, 9 championships? It's ridiculous that I can't even remember how many finals he's been in. So it's 2011 through 2018. So that's 8. And then, yeah, he had the one in 2007. So that's 9. 9 championships, 9 for 9 in the finals with him having the all-time numbers that he does. Yeah, he's better than Michael Jordan if he went 9 for 9 in the finals. Like, are you fucking kidding me? In the modern NBA, the shit we hear about Bill Russell seems absurd. If we saw that today with LeBron being as dominant as he is in the other areas of the game, no way is Jordan in that conversation, because that is a ridiculous accomplishment. And it's because of that being a ridiculous accomplishment that I don't hold LeBron's finals record against him to nearly the extent that some people do. Basically, 2011 is the only final series that I hold heavily against LeBron. Regardless, if he had won all of those championships, no, he's not on the same level as Jordan. I understand Jordan is the GOAT. He is my GOAT, but goddamn, what are we talking about here? 6 for 6 is not as good as 9 for 9 when LeBron has all of that, on top of the fact that he still has a couple more finals appearances likely to go, at least one. So yeah, he would not be on the same level, he'd be higher. Steve Kerr's coaching is drastically underrated, and Curry wouldn't have a ring before KD without him. He made possibly the best system for shooters to get open. Now, I agree with some of this tweet. I do not agree with all of this. I do not believe that Steve Kerr is drastically underrated. I do think it's stupid when people say that he just got all of the success that Mark Jackson brought up, because really, when you look at it, Mark Jackson had a very old school mindset that was holding the Warriors back. Steve Kerr really unleashed the Warriors to their fullest potential. There's a reason why they were a championship team the year after they got Steve Kerr. So as a result, yeah, I think Steve Kerr's coaching was a huge deal. However, there are other areas of the game outside of his modern mindset and his coaching scheme to get shooters open where Steve Kerr falls a little bit flat. He is not nearly as good at rotations or making adjustments as you would like a coach to be. So I think Steve Kerr is just outside of that upper echelon of coaches in the NBA. I think he's just a pretty good coach, and I do agree that he was a great fit for Golden State. However, I think his overall coaching prowess isn't as amazing as this tweet is suggesting it is. The Clippers are better off with Zubac instead of Harrell long term. Hard agree. I have been singing Zubac's praises for quite a while now, and I actually had some people clowning on me because I said that Zubac would be big in a series versus like the Nuggets and the Lakers because he's the best defensive big they have. And I don't know why, because he was proving me right versus the Nuggets. Zubac was a huge positive guarding Nikola Jokic with the Clippers. Where the Clippers were getting killed by Jokic was when they had Harrell on the floor or they were getting a switch. Zubac played him well, but the team was so reliant on Harrell scoring off of the bench that they kept subbing out Zubac despite him being a better player, especially defensively. So I do believe that Zubac is better for the Clippers in the long term. Now, he has a bit of an issue with fouling as well as stamina, so I still think they should keep Harrell around, but I think in those late game moments, and especially when they need defense, they need to stop putting Montrezl Harrell in there and leave Zubac on the floor, because he's a good defensive big man. If you put Embiid on these Lakers in place of AD, the Lakers are better. No, they're not, because Anthony Davis is a much better player than Joel Embiid. Yeah, that's it. I think Wendell Carter Jr. is a top 5 defensive center in the league, and people don't recognize him because the Bulls suck right now. But he led the Bulls to, at one time, a top 5 defensive team. He got injured, and the Bulls dropped to 26th. Alright, allow my Bulls bias to shine through real quick. I definitely agree with this one. Pretty much Joel Embiid, Bam Adebayo, and Rudy Gobert are the only defensive centers that I would confidently say are better than Wendell Carter Jr. Anthony Davis would be there, but he insists on being a power forward. So yeah, I believe Wendell is a top 5 defensive center. And I understand that I'm a Bulls fan and you might feel I'm biased here, but what he said in that tweet was correct. The Bulls were a top 5 defense when Wendell was healthy. He got hurt and they dropped off a cliff on defense. Wendell is a phenomenal defensive player. He has a very high defensive IQ. He is quick on his feet. He has the size. He has the length. He has the athleticism. He just knows where to be at the right time. He protects the rim very well. He can handle the perimeter. All around, a very good defensive center, and I think he's the best young Bulls prospect on this team by a country mile. Much better than Lauri Markkanen and much better than Kobe White. Zach LaVine I no longer consider a young player because 25 is pretty much the first year of you being like a veteran in the NBA. So I don't consider Zach LaVine in the Bulls young core. So Wendell, yes, very good defensive player, and I just need him to get healthy so he can prove this over the long term, because I think he's going to be very good. He is the Bulls' best prospect, and it'd be nice if Bulls fans started treating him like it, because for whatever reason there's this subsection of Bulls fans that think that Wendell is not good, and they're fucking idiots. Same group of Bulls fans that think Chris Dunn is not good. Fucking idiots. Both are ridiculously good defensive players, and I'm tired of them being disrespected. I understand them being disrespected by people outside of the fan base, but Bulls fans that think those guys are bad really need to educate themselves, because no, they are not, and they also need to stop sucking off Kobe White because he's pretty good, but calm the fuck down. Because I got a tweet that I didn't show in this hot take that said that Kobe is going to be a top 10 player in the NBA. No, he's not. Please stop it. I can't stand it. Okay, it's those Bulls fans that make me look bad from saying that I'm a homer, when in reality, I'm pretty fucking realistic about my team, and I just can't stand these Bulls fans that think Zach LaVine is Kobe Bryant, think that Lauri Markkanen is Dirk Nowitzki, and think that Kobe White is fucking, I don't know, Allen Iverson. So yeah, that was a quick rant that I wasn't planning on doing, but that is the end of this video. If you want to check it out, I have a Patreon where you can get some extra content once every 2 weeks, so go check me out on there if you're interested in supporting this content outside of just your subscription and your like. But if not, that is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.